We are live. Awesome. We are live here in Studio 39 for tonight's episode of MLR Tonight. Hi, I am Kyle Corbett, center fielder for the Red Sox and owner of Fake Majestic. Coming to you live here on this April 14th, Saturday. I am joined tonight by Mr. Daz Reference, center fielder for the Minnesota Twins. Daz, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, Daz. We are still also scheduled to be joined by Mr. Huge Manchild, who is the third baseman for the Padres, also is the MLR league technician. He's having some issues right now in his place of residence due to a power outage, but should he get back to full internet health, he will be joining us to discuss all of tonight's MLR action. We have 6 games still going strong in the current session as we move into the All-Star break. Daz, are you excited for All-Star Weekend?
Yeah, I'm totally excited for it. It should be an exciting game for sure.
Alrighty. So let's get prepped here by digging through all the games that have happened in this session. We'll start with a couple completed ones. First in the National League. We talked a lot about it last night. Let's dive in some more. Phillies and Pirates, the big rivalry, the battle for the Quaker State here at Citizens Bank Ballpark. Hudson Quinn getting another start going against Darth Vader, looking to solidify his spot as maybe the all-star starter for the National League. This one we get off the ground running in the top of the third inning with Ashton Westenberg at the plate. He was vying at this point to win the final vote and beat James Earl Pones to get the last spot voted in by the fans on the All-Star team, and he would certainly make his case here. He'll hit a deep home run to left field. That one is gone. Home run for Ashton Westenberg, his second of the year, making it 1-0 Pittsburgh. Moving to the top of the fourth now, Jimmy John's at the plate. After now facing Owen Urich, who replaced Hudson Quinn after Westenberg hit the home run. Johns will ground into a double play that will cause 2 outs, but it will allow Emmerbach to come in from third and score, making it 2-0 Pittsburgh. Later in the inning, Baxter Payne at the plate. He hasn't done a whole lot this year. He's looking for an opportunity to break out. He'll do just that by hitting a single out to left field that scores Buckeye Logan, making it 3-0 Pittsburgh. However, the Phillies would have no answer as the Pirates complete the shutout of the Phillies 3-0. They'll out-hit the Phillies 8-2. Darth Vader gets a complete game shutout, throwing 6 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Hudson Quinn will take the loss with just 2 1/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, an earned run, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Ashton Westenberg, of course, had a great day at the plate, going 2 for 2 with a home run, and an RBI. Daz, what are your initial thoughts about the Pirates' blatant takedown here of the Phillies?
Well, I'm not surprised. The Twins played the Pirates recently, and that was an excellent game. They've definitely got a lot of hard hitters on their team. So I kind of saw this one coming.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, the Phillies definitely had a great game last week. They went up and played the Cardinals and really dethroned them. You had a great game going against Cooter last week, but nobody really believed that the Phillies were going to just get off the ground and run from there, I'd say. And I think the Pirates definitely are a lot more of a consistent team. They've won their last 2. And I think this really is going to be a good step in the right direction. Let me ask you about something that we discussed heavily last night, and that's this Phillies pitching situation. Jay tried to go back to Hudson getting the start, and that didn't work out. He pulled him after just allowing 4 hits and a run, which that decision itself may be a little questionable. Then Urich comes in and doesn't really do much either. Do you think there's a viable answer to fixing the Phillies rotation, or do you think what Jay's doing now should work and just we need to see these pitchers performing better on the mound?
This is going to come as a surprise to some people that know me, but I actually have a lot of faith in what Jay is doing. I think he's completely in control of the situation at the moment.
That's kind of an interesting perspective. Would you say that you believe Hudson Quinn is better in the starter form, or do you think he probably should be moved back to the bullpen, where he did pick up a save or 2 before returning to the starting position that he's in? You there, Daz?
Oh, yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry, I must have missed what you said.
I was saying,
a little bit.
Sorry, I was saying that Hudson Quinn has definitely struggled in the starting role, but a couple of sessions ago he had some bullpen appearances, and those went really well for him. Do you think maybe it's the bullpen where he needs to be, or do you think we should trust in what Jay is doing and let him start?
I think Hudson Quinn should definitely be a starter, and that's coming from him being a former teammate of mine. I've seen what he can do over the long game, rather than just being put in at the end. I don't think relieving is the best spot for him. Obviously, we could use that in a pinch, but I think he's the starter through and through.
Very good take. The Pirates will be heading into the All-Star break with a 6-3 record. The Phillies will be 4-5. After the break in Session 10, the Pirates will be playing host to the Giants. Meanwhile, the Phillies will be on the road taking on the Colorado Rockies. Moving on to the other completed game here in the National League, Giants and Dodgers. This one was a thriller right until the very end. Let's walk through it. Started out in the bottom of the first inning with Scotty Smalls at the plate. He'll hit a solo shot out to deep center. That one is gone. Opening the scoring right open for the Dodgers, 1-0 LA in the bottom of the first. Not a lot of offense would occur until the top of the fourth. Mike Oxley at the plate facing Brady McElroy, who until this point was having a really good game. Until solo shot to deep left field for Oxley. That one is gone. Ties the game up at 1. Moving to the top of the fifth, Giants back of the plate facing McElroy. He'll smack a single on the ground. Leo smacks a single on the ground. Towards left field, Hunter 2-0 coming from third in the score, making it 2-1 Giants. But the Dodgers were not done yet. Bottom of the fifth, Billy Cutgrass, the lead vote getter in the outfield for the National League, proves us why. Solo shot to right field to tie the game at 2. Another home run for Billy Cutgrass. This one would go to extras in the top of the seventh. Peekov Andropov, the biggest snub by far for the All-Star game. I don't think anybody will debate that one. He's going to prove why right here. With a man on, he'll smack a home run out to right field. That one is gone. A 2-run blast for Peekov Andropov, making it 4-2 Giants. And the Dodgers could not come back in the bottom of the frame. Giants take this one 4-2. Peters will get the win as he heads into his first career All-Star game appearance. Brady McElroy, despite a nice showing until the bitter end, will take the loss. Daz, let me ask you about this very interesting extra inning affair we saw here. We saw some great offensive performances from both sides with guys like Smalls and Cutgrass on the Dodgers side and faces like Hunter 2-0 on the Giants side. What do you think about this overall as a game?
There are a lot of big names that were just going at it in this game, and they were showing exactly why they are a big name. This was a really exciting one for me to watch.
If you're Gino, your team is now 3-6. You know, you haven't had a whole lot of luck go your way. Your team is stat crunching like no tomorrow. I mean, they have 3 All-Stars, and we're close to maybe even getting a 4th with Max Ocalo, who is definitely in the mix at catcher. And you have guys like James and Joe and Brait and Tucker who have good stats and charge, but you don't have wins. And that's become very apparent. Everybody knows you're a great GM, but you don't have wins. What does a guy like Gino need to do to finally start getting wins? What is it about his team that needs to change if they're really going to start winning any games?
I really couldn't say, but if you wanted me to guess, I think they need a bigger clubhouse presence. They need leadership in the clubhouse that's leading the young guys.
I definitely agree with you on that point, but I will say that there are teams without leadership that are succeeding. I mean, look at St. Louis. You could say George Ewell, but there's not really a face of that team that really is running the show, and yet they're about to pick up another victory. We'll get to that game in here in a few minutes. They're about to move to 6-3 and really haven't dominated the NL East all year. Would you argue that a leader is necessary in every clubhouse, or do you think that if you're like St. Louis or you're even like Toronto, that the ensemble cast strategy can work and propel you to victory?
I'm a really big proponent of leadership. I think having that veteran presence in the clubhouse will propel the rest of the team to greatness. Now, of course, there are outliers. You've noted a few teams that absolutely do well without that leadership, at least in a big way. But I think leadership overall is going to be the number one invisible stat that leads people to the World Series, the paper cup, rather.
Very, very true. All right, let's move on to that game I was just hinting at, Cardinals-Rockies. This one is still going a little bit, but this isn't much of a contest anymore. Jamison Poe faced off against Garrett Evans in what would be an offensive slugfest. Starting right away in the bottom of the first inning, Haywood Jablomi at the plate for the Rockies facing Poe. He barely skated into the All-Star game, and he's going to prove why in this one that he deserved to be the All-Star. He'll lead off the bottom of the first with a nice home run out to right field. 2-run blast for Jablomi, making it 2-0 Rockies early in this one. Moving to the top of the second now, Cody Omega, the youngster at the plate for the Cardinals. He'll smack a home run out to right field. A solo shot for Omega, making it 2-1 Rockies. Bottom of the second now, Rockies would answer back with Jack Alpha at the plate. He'll hit yet another home run of the year out to center field. This one was a solo blast. 3-1 Rockies. The hard hits will continue for Colorado in the bottom of the third with Haywood Jablomi back at the plate. He does it again. Another 2-1 blast out to left field, making it 5-1 Colorado. 2 home run day for Jablomi. What a game. Top of the fourth now, the Cardinals down by 4, but they were ready to answer back in a big way. Fox Dashington at the plate with a man on. He'll hit a single out the center. Between the gap, Steve Sherwin will come in from third and score, making it 5-2. Later in the inning, Dougal McGougal at the plate. He'll double out shorts deep right field. With Jablomi chasing after it, that will allow Keggs Mabry and Fox Dashington to come in and score, making it 5-4. Cardinals down by 1. However, they would tie it up here with Justin Bagley at the plate. He'll hit an RBI single to center. Dougal McGougal will score. 5-5 is your new score between the Cardinals and the Rockies, but the Cardinals would break it away here with George Ewell at the plate. He'll smack a 2-run blast to right field that scores himself and Justin Paglia. 7-5 Cardinals your score, but the scoring was not done yet. Steve Sherwin now at the plate. He is yet to have much power this year, but he'll show it here. He'll hit a 13 different home run to deep right field over the wall. Evans is completely disappointed, but Sherwin is excited. Sherwin lifts the Cardinals lead 8-5, but they are not done hitting here. Keggs Mabry at the plate. He'll hit one out to deep center. Another solo shot. 9-5 Cardinals, and that's where we currently stand in the top of the fifth. Actually, now we're moving to the middle of the fifth. Fox Dashington just struck out. So we will be seeing the Rockies sit here in the bottom of the fifth as they try to overcome this 4-run deficit that the Cardinals offense has given them. Daz, what do you think about this game?
I can tell you one thing about this game is I love watching the Cardinals play. They have such dedicated players on the team, but one person that stands out most to me is definitely Fox Dashington. Anyone that could get a helmet in the shape of a top hat and a bat in the shape of a cane is worth watching, if you ask me.
I completely agree with you. Let me ask you about this. I'm gonna ask you about 2 players really fast. We'll start with Jamison Poe, who's on pace to get the win here despite giving up 5 earned runs. This will be the most earned runs he's given up all year, which has allowed him to have a All-Star campaign. Poe, the big knock on him, the reason why he did not make the All-Star team is because small sample size. He doesn't really have the innings pitched that a guy like Peters or Horvath really has. Do you think that negates him at all as a pitcher or as an All-Star? Do you think Poe is a guy who's deserving the All-Star spot?
I do think Poe is a guy that's deserving the All-Star spot. I think having a minimum amount of innings pitched and a minimum amount of plate appearances is, it's necessary for the All-Stars, but I think it's too high the way it currently is. Especially a lot of the people that are just rookies this year, they still deserve a chance to get into the All-Star game. At least that's my opinion. I think Poe is somebody to watch for the future, though, and I will not have any doubt in my mind that he's going to be somebody in the All-Star game in the years to come.
Who would you replace Poe with? Or if you're going to insert Poe, who would you replace him with?
You see, that's really hard for me because the pitchers that got in definitely deserve it. And I don't know. I don't think I could pick just one that Poe should replace. I just feel like he should be there with them. I know that's not really how the rules work, but hey, I'm a weird guy.
Fair enough. On the flip side, Garrett Evans has definitely had quite a wild ride this year. He's known for con copper levels of K per 6, a ton of strikeouts, but yet gives up a ton of runs every game. Definitely a fall from grace for the number 1 overall pick in the expansion draft. Would you say that Garrett Evans is a good pitcher, or do you think he needs more work?
I think he's a fine pitcher. What he's going through right now, it's a classic slump. He'll get out of it.
Fair enough. I definitely like that take, and I agree that Evans is a solid pitcher. Let's move on to our next game of discussion, Nationals Expos. We finally have had some action here overnight, and we'll get into that real quickly. This one is definitely a pitcher's duel for the first 3 innings. Jerome Garcia facing off against Cal Tiberius Jr. in this one. Neither player allowed a run in the first 3 innings. However, they each allowed 1 hit and 1 walk exactly. Scoring would break open, though, in the bottom of the 4th inning. Zachary Benz, who's going to be an all-star this weekend for the NL team, starting at second base. He'll prove it why here with an RBI double to right field that scores King Fielder. That'll make it 1-0 Montreal, as the 4th inning, I believe, is coming to an end with Sadler Oriole at the plate and 2 outs. Y.E. Wally just struck out. Now this inning, Jerome Garcia has given up another 3 hits and, of course, the 1 earned run. The current score, Montreal 1, Washington 0. What do you think about this game and really the pitcher's duel we've seen all day that may be coming to an end right here in the 4th inning?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I think my connection's a little weird.
We've had a pitcher's duel here, no doubt, with Tiberius not giving up a run and Garcia just giving up 1 run through almost 4 innings. What do you think about this pitcher's duel we've seen here and how that's affected this game altogether?
Pitchers' duels are always fun to watch, but I feel like one of them is going to break soon. They've both been pitching their hearts out. One of them is going to make a mistake. I see it coming.
Most certainly. Let's talk Expos really fast. They're 5-3, looking at this point, pending a Nationals easy 1-run comeback, to go 6-3 heading into the break. They're definitely a team that everybody is sleeping on, in my opinion. You know, they're about to pick up a 6th win. Despite the fact that they don't really have a whole lot of Discord activity. James Nino's been running definitely a quiet clubhouse up in the Great White North. What do you think about the Expos as a whole?
They're a conundrum. Like you said, they don't talk a lot in the main Discord, so there's not a lot to go by there. But Nino's he's a fantastic GM, and he is present in the main Discord. And just by watching him compose himself, I would imagine that the Expos as a whole are probably going to be a solid team for the sessions to come.
On the flip side of this, the Nationals are looking to go into the break 2-7. We've hinted on many shows now that we don't really know what the issue is. They have a lot of leaders that are simply being not able to contribute enough in terms of run production. You know, Omega's got great stats, so does Mintz-Pelling, so does Hofford-Ozzie. Jones is looking a lot like he did last season, and then you have some decent mound production with Garcia, of course, who having a great game this week, and Hatchett out of the bullpen, and of course Hudson Hildebrand, who almost got an All-Star selection. What's the issue in Natstown in DC? Is it hitting? Is it pitching? Is it maybe an issue with Mick as the GM? What's the issue with the Washington Nationals?
I wouldn't pin this one on the GM. I think that their bats need to wake up. It seems like they had a anemic offense the entire season. I don't really know. It's baffling to me that they're underperforming as much as they are.
We'll have to see if either team lives up to the expectations in the second half of the season. One more NL game to talk about here. Brewers and Padres. Brewers have been known to blow out teams this year. They've done it quite a few times, and they'll do it once more here. So let's start here in the top of the second. Ron Swanson got the start for the Brewers today, going against Lynn Tensicum. Top of the second, I Am Organic at the plate, facing Tensicum with 2 men on. He'll smack a home run out to deep center field. That one is gone. Spaghetti Hitchens will score. Bohorse Jackman will score. 3-0, your current Brewers lead. However, the offense wouldn't stop there. Moving to the top of the fourth, Scottish Tweedy, another easily debated all-star snub at the plate. With the bases loaded, he'll hit one high and deep to right field. That one is over the wall and gone. A grand slam for Scottish Tweedy. Bajingo scores, Organic scores, Squire scores, and Tweedy will cross home plate. 7-0 Brewers is the current score as we are here in the bottom of the fourth with, I believe, 2 outs at the moment. Oh, no, sorry, 1 out, bottom 4. They've made some ton of positional moves, the Padres, that is, trying to maybe pick up one or two runs, but it doesn't look like they'll be winning this one here. Ron Swanson's thrown a heck of a game. 3 and a third innings pitched, 1 hit allowed, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 1 strikeout. What do you think about the Brewers' total annihilation of San Diego in this one?
Well, I can say that the Brewers have an amazing offensive team. Their pitching's been top-notch. But more in terms of Tinsicum, I think, well, I heard this, don't quote me on this, but I heard that he actually went into the game with the flu. So some of those pitches that he left hanging there, they could be because he just wasn't seeing his pitches that well.
Wow. Breaking news here. I guess Tinsicum's not feeling well. Get better soon, Lim. Brewers looking to go into the All-Star break 5-4 here, pending a miracle out of Preller's hat. They've got a lot of good offensive pieces, but they really, again, this is another team where the leader really isn't present. I mean, you could say Dan, but other than that, they really don't have the one guy that's really been towing the line for Milwaukee. Is that going to hurt them in the long run, this lack of a leader thing, or do you think that they are just going to keep doing what they're doing in the second half? They will have a tough stretch to open the second half, having to go to Boston and then play Arizona, some other tough teams in that stretch before the All-Star break. They'll have to face Cleveland, and do you think that's going to shake them at all, or do you think they're just going to keep on keeping on and should make an easy path towards maybe an NL East victory?
Well, like I said, I'm all about consistency. I think that having a leader is going to work, but then again, these are one of those teams where they might be the outlier. Now, they do have a tough schedule ahead of them after the All-Star break, like you mentioned, but they're going to be interesting to watch, I think is the best thing to say. It's exciting Reddit ball. That's all I can think.
On the contrary, the Padres, who are on pace to head into the All-Star break at 3-6, A.J. Preller's got a lot of players in down there that he can't really get a whole lot of playing time. The offensive production, sans Forehead Jones, really has been absent, and the pitching has been subpar at best. Kyle Grimes Jr. had a good start to the year. Other than that, they haven't seen a whole lot from the starting end of things. What needs to be fixed in San Diego? Is there still hope, or maybe Preller should go into sell mode as he preps for Season 3 and hopefully better luck then?
I think Preller should absolutely have some people ready to be moved. I think they are definitely sellers this year. It's not really a question in my mind. But hope for a rebuild, even start the rebuild this season.
Very, very true. All right.
I think a couple of the hot pieces that they could move, Cannonball Dickerson comes to mind. I think he's one of their top prospects that could probably thrive on another team and probably get them some prospects.
I totally agree. All right, let's take one quick glance back to the National League really quick. Of course, Pittsburgh defeated Philadelphia 3-0. The Giants defeated the Dodgers 4-2 in 7 innings. Cardinals currently beating the Rockies 9-5. Montreal on top of Washington 1-0. And the Brewers are dominating the Padres 7-0. Daz, out of all 5 of these games, which of these do you think will have the most implications come Session 18 in the playoff race?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear
Sorry
me?
about that. That's some weird feedback. I think the Pittsburgh and Philadelphia game is probably going to have the biggest implications going in. They're just so close in their current records, and I think that's going to be telling of where the rest of the season's going to go.
All right, now let's hop over and take a look at the American League and see what Das has to say about his personal league and mine as well. We have some interesting games this session to talk about. First, we'll talk about the unanimous game of the week, Cleveland and Toronto. 2 very, very promising teams look to get a foothold in the AL East. Both teams will certainly prove that they have some firepower here. Starting right away in the top of the first, Dick Pole at the plate. He's had a good last couple of games. He's facing SAR Dinka. He'll smack a double out towards left field. Frank Sinatra will come in and score, giving him an RBI, making it 1-0 Indians early on. Moving to the bottom of the second inning now, Mike Honcho, definitely an under-the-radar player in the Blue Jays ensemble cast. He'll hit a home run out to deep right field. That one is gone. Tie game here at Rogers Center, 1-1 is your score. Moving now to the top of the fourth, Dick Pole back at the plate. He'll smack a home run out to left field, his third in the last 2 games. That one is gone. 2-1 is the new Indian score. However, the offense would not stop there for BB Bambino's Indians. Top of the fifth, Stig Bond at the plate. He'll hit a home run out to right field, a solo shot for Bond. That one is gone. 3-1 Indians are new score, but the Blue Jays would have a little bit of a comeback. Bottom of the fifth, Ziggy Cedar, who had a 3-home-run day, 4 for 4 last session. He'll show some more offensive production here with an RBI double out towards center field. Quentin Adams will come in from third and score, making it 3-2 Indians. However, that's where the comeback would end, as Big Tuna would shut the door out of the pen in his final appearance for the Indians, as the Blue Jays fall to Cleveland 3-2. They presumably will also lose their number 1 spot in the power rankings. Both teams now 6-3. Tommy Foxconn will get a key victory here, going 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, and 1 strikeout. S.A.R. Dinka will take the loss despite a nice outing. 6 innings pitched, 8 hits, 3 runs, a walk, and a strikeout. Dick Pole gets player of the game, going 2 for 2 with a home run and a RBI double. What do you think about this battle for the ages between Cleveland and Toronto? Daz, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question there. It was a battle for the ages for sure. I had a lot of fun. I was actually the umpire for this one. And while at the same time, while I was playing on the Twins, so running back and forth between Houston and Toronto was a little difficult, but quite a bit of fun. I got to say that Dick Pole, he is a player to watch moving forward. He was electric at the plate today.
Who's a player in this game that wasn't talked about a whole lot, but really impressed you? Maybe it was because of how fast they responded, or just their overall presence. Who's someone that really impressed you as you went this game?
Well, I got to say that Lane Drew is always very responsive. Him and Graham and Milo Graham's always on top of things. They always respond within 10 minutes or so. They didn't necessarily put a lot of run production on the board. They all kind of struggled a little bit today.
Yeah, 2 for 9 combined.
They all are very fast. Right, yeah.
Mike
Honcho, though, he is he stands out for me.
Oh yeah, Mike Honcho. Let's talk about Dinka for a second here. He's definitely been a lot more quiet in the Discord lately. He hasn't had a whole lot going for him. He's kind of been shuffled around as one of the lesser pitchers in that Blue Jay staff. Do you think he's still got it? Think he's still a quality guy, or do you think that he's really starting to struggle a little bit more here?
Dinka's a veteran, and he was pretty great last season. So, I mean, it's pretty normal to see people slumping, to see people coming back to the mean. But Dinka is one of those. He's an institution. He'll come back from this. He will go strong. I see him having a good rest of the season.
All right, let's move on here to our next game in the AL, Rangers and Red Sox. I will try to be non-biased as I talk about how much we dominated, but nonetheless, this was certainly an interesting offensive affair. Starting in the bottom of the first, Larry Long shot at the plate, facing off against Hubero and Three Finger, who's definitely been worked to death on the mound for Texas and Mr. Rabbi Chase. Larry Longshot here will smack a home run to right field, his first of the year, making it 1-0 Boston after the leadoff solo shot in the bottom of the frame. Later in the inning, Michael Voorhees will step up to the plate and hit a blooper out the center field that will fall for a single. Rusty Shackelford will come in from third and score, making it 2-0 Red Sox. The offense wouldn't stop there. Jay Money later in the inning. He'll hit a single on a line drive to right field that scores Ravitsu Sturmubato. 3-0 Red Sox your score. Moving now to the bottom of the second inning, Chuck McCluster back at the plate. He's had a decent last couple of games. He will ground out here to G.H. Morello, but that ground out will allow Jay Emby to come across the score. The RBI for McCluster allows a 4-0 Boston lead. Later in the inning, Rusty Shackelford back at the plate. He's been struggling the last couple of games, but he wants to get the power back. He will hit a long ball to left field. That one is gone. 2-run homer for Mr. Rusty Shackelford. Ben Beazle will also pick up a run. 6-0 Red Sox your score. However, the Rangers wanted to show that they have some signs of life. Top of the third, Joe Trundle at the plate. Probably one of the bigger all-star snubs in the AL side of things. He'll hit a homer on a fly ball to center field that scores 3 runs. Random Midsummers come across and score. 6-3. Your new score as the Rangers cut Boston's lead to just 3 in the top of the third. However, Red Sox would fire back in the bottom of the fifth with Rick Canal-Halladay at the plate. He will ground into a 1-4-3 double play, but that will still allow Michael Voorhees to come in from third and pick up a run. 7-3 Boston is your score. However, the Rangers would have a last-second comeback with Harvey Barge coming out of the bullpen. Dixie Recht will get up and hit a single on a line drive to right field that scores Joe Trundle, making the new score 7-4. Later in the inning, Duke McCracken will hit a single on a ground ball to center field that scores Dallas Houston. 7-5, Boston is your score, but that's where the comeback would end as Barge gets some 2 more outs to end it here at Fenway Park. Red Sox take this one 7-5. They out-hit the Rangers 9-8. Mo Lester picks up the win on his first career start after going 5 1/3 innings with 4 hits, 3 earned runs, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. Superbone Three-Finger picks up his 5th loss of the year after going 5 innings pitched, 9 hits, 6 earned, 5 walks, and 5 strikeouts. What's your opinion on this one, Daz?
Boston's got a team that you don't fool around with. They are going to capitalize on every single mistake that you make. However, that said, I'm really enthused to see that comeback from the Rangers. They really they've got a lot of heart and soul on their team, and they really started to make Boston sweat. You can tell. 7-5, that's pretty great. Getting 2 runs there in the 6th inning. I was rooting for them, and I don't mean this anything against your team there, but I was rooting for the Rangers to at least tie it up. I wanted to see this game go into extras.
If you're, how do I say this? If you are Rabbi, obviously you have a lot of good players. You know, Summers is a beast. Trundle has a ton of power. Morello's had some good games. What's the issue? I mean, you're 4-5. Excuse me. Sorry. All of Superbone in his innings have definitely had some issues, but is that the real issue? The lack of pitching depth is because everybody's starting to figure out Superbone Three-Finger, or is there another underlying issue that I'm not seeing with the Texas Rangers?
I think that they need to pick up at least another pitcher. That way they could have a little bit of variability, and Superbone can't get scouted as easily as he has been. But I don't want to pin this loss on him entirely. I think the bats need to wake up for Texas. Now, granted, Morello, for example, he does get several hits. He's been doing pretty well the last few games, but he's young, and he is up there swinging for the fences on every single pitch. I think if he tries to play a little bit more small ball, then Texas goes a little bit further. That goes for some of the other young players on the team as well.
Alrighty, let's talk Red Sox really fast. I don't want to toot our own horn, but, you know, we have won 5 straight games, and we're going into the All-Star break looking very, very hot, if not the best team in the league. Most people are picking us as definitely a top 3 team to watch right now, as we're now 6-3. And more importantly, we are 5-0 since Jordan Peppers took over as GM, and we haven't made many additions since that point. What would you say is the biggest factor in why we are winning so many games?
Peppers. I'm going to pin on Peppers. He is a catalyzing factor for your team. Without him, I don't think that you have the lineup set the way it is, which I think is perfect at the moment. And I think his encouragement and his coaching of the players is leading you to victory.
Alrighty, let's take a look at a few other games here. Let's take a look at your team, Daz. And your team didn't do as well as you hoped this week, but you still had a fun time playing down in Houston, Texas, as you guys took on the Astros. Tim Burr got the start for Daz's Minnesota Twins as he looked to get one last tune-up before the All-Star game, facing against the electric Con Copper with his high K per 6, but also a high runs per 6. This one will get started here in the bottom of the first with Riles McGiles at the plate. Filled a sac fly out to deep right field. The out will allow Bear Thomas to come in from third and tag up with a run scored. 1-0 Houston in the bottom of the first. However, Daz himself would fire right back in the top of the third with a 2-run home run out to deep right, making it 2-1 Twins at the top of the third. However, the Astros would fire back with their own home run. Kev Ariana at the plate will smack a 3-run blast to deep center field. That one is long, deep, and gone. First home run is an Astro for Ariana. McGiles and Montana will also score, making it 4-2 Houston, and that's all the offense we'd see in this one. Con Copper has a gem thrown in this one, going 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, and 6 strikeouts, as the Astros defeat the Twins 4-2, and they out-hit them 8-5. Timber, definitely a little shaky in this one. 4 innings pitched, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. Kev Ariana wins player of the game, 2 for 3, a single, home run, and 3 RBIs. And, of course, Daz Reference had a great game for the Twins, going 1 for 3 with that big 2-run home run. Daz, tell me about your opinion of this game as a whole.
Copper is a pitcher that I don't like hitting against. He is really good. Like, the entire clubhouse was trying to figure out if he had a tell, if there was anything going on with him on the mound, and he is just so hard to figure out. But he is a great pitcher. Yes, I think I got a little bit lucky on my home run. It was an inside the Parker, and I'm still out of breath from that. But Copper, it was really hard for us to figure out, especially to string multiple hits against him. Like, we had 5 hits, but we didn't have any of them back to back to back, like we hopefully could have, except for my home run. Ariana, though, is going to be a thorn in our side for years to come, I can tell. I think there's a little bit of a rivalry brewing here. Anyone that hits 2 for 3 against my team is not my friend.
Give me your team. We're going to talk a lot about the Twins later in the show, but right now, your team, of course, 5-4, definitely a little bit of a fall from grace from where you were a couple of sessions ago. What is your team's mindset as you go into the halfway point and look to rise up and succeed in the second half? What's the morale and mindset that Charlie Scott's instilling in the Minnesota clubhouse right now?
I might be a little bit biased here, but there's no better GM than Charlie Scott. And because of him, every single person in that clubhouse is still very positive. We know that we're a winning team. We're going to continue to show that we're a winning team. We're still at the top of the leaderboards. We're tied with the Astros, who did just beat us. But we're looking good going forward. A couple of losses, that's to be expected. Nobody goes undefeated.
Speaking of a couple of losses, we're going to get to this later in the show, but your team took 2 losses on the roster side of things with 2 very, very key retirements. How has that been affecting the morale in the Minnesota clubhouse?
It shook us a little bit, especially saying goodbye to Twinkie Powers, but he was a veteran. He was ready to hang up the cleats, and we wish him well, but it is definitely a loss that we'll feel.
All right, we'll have to see how both of these teams fare in the second half of the year. One more completed game in the AL side of things, our interleague matchup this week, Arizona and Oakland. We all expected this to be a firepower game considering how both teams have been playing as of late, and it certainly was nothing short of that. Let's get started here in the top of the first. Dominic Vielbaum at the plate for Arizona, looking to really start to get things going in his career, facing Sal Shark, who's had a good start to the last couple of games. Shark throws a fastball on the middle of the plate with the bases loaded, and Vielbaum takes advantage. A grand slam for Dominic Vielbaum out to deep center field. Stake scores, Drexler scores, Chicken scores, 4-0. The Diamondbacks get an early lead in the top of the first. Moving now to the top of the third, Monster Mash to the plate. He'll get an RBI single out towards left field. That scores Thomas Chickens. 5-0. D-backs is your score. Later in the inning, Assassin Panda at the plate. He'll hit a sac fly to right field. It'll be caught out there. However, Vielbaum will come across the score, making it 6-0 Diamondbacks. Later in the inning, Dom Stakes to the plate. He'll hit an RBI single in the gap to center field that scores A.Z. Chapman, making it 7-0. The offense didn't stop there with Garen Smudge at the plate later in the inning with an RBI double that scores both Monster Mash and Dom Stakes. 9-0 Diamondbacks, your score. However, the A's were not done yet. Bottom of the third, Graham Autry at the plate. He'll smack a home run out to left field. His first of the year, solo shot for Autry. 9-1 Diamondbacks the score. And the Oakland A's had a lot more offensive power later in the inning with Kid Notcher at the plate with the bases loaded. He'll hit one high and deep to right. That one is just over the wall, but it is gone. A grand slam for Kid Notcher. The offense for the A's second baseman continues. 9-5 your score between the Diamondbacks and the A's. Later in the next inning, Graham Autry back at the plate. He'll hit another home run out to left field. Solo blast for Autry, his second of the game. 9-6 Diamondbacks as the lead is quickly cut to 3 within 2 innings. However, the Diamondbacks would add on some more with the Assassin Panda back at the plate. He'll hit a home run out to left field that scores himself in Monster Mash, making it 11-6 Diamondbacks. No other offense will be seen here, as Einhorn will close the door out of the pen for the Diamondbacks to pick up the win over the A's 11-6. They out hit the A's 13-10. The win will go to Sid Kidd, who pitched 3 1/3 with 7 hits, 6 earned runs, a walk, and a K. Sal Shark takes a brutal loss, allowing 12 hits, 11 runs, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. What did you think about the A's obliteration almost of Oakland in this one?
I got to say, I was really surprised to see Shark struggling as much as he did. But Arizona was absolutely dominant. They were all over him today. I think maybe he should take a hard look at his fundamentals. Take a look at maybe he's tipping them off with one of his pitches or some of his pitches. But I was really surprised by this one. It was nice to see Oakland put up a bit of a fight there in the middle innings. But, unfortunately, not enough.
Alrighty. Let's talk A's really fast. If you're Rick Gymnast, 4-5. So, based on how you were looking after the first 4 sessions of the year, that's definitely an improvement. But probably not where you want to be as a whole, considering you just came off a Paper Cup season. What's the issue, in your opinion, with Oakland right now?
It's really hard to say. I think it might just be, a slump. Like we've been talking about this earlier in the game, earlier in the show tonight. But sometimes people just slump. I don't think it's anything that's going to be indicative of the future. I think that they've got a difficult schedule coming up, but I think that they're going to do just fine.
All right, 2 more games still in action here in the American League. Let's touch on them really fast. Tigers and Devil Rays. Definitely a lopsided matchup on the record side of things, but Devil Rays coming into this one with a 2-game losing streak, looking to come off of that and get a victory here at home for Whit Bass and his team. I'll start here in the top of the first with Otis Nixon Sr. at the plate facing Ed Turner, who's had a rough couple of starts. He's looking to get back on track with the key outing here. Otis Nixon will hit a home run out to left field, his first of the year. That one is gone, making it 1-0 Tigers early. However, in the bottom of the frame, Fuzzy Dunlop would answer back with a double to left center field of his own. That would score Grim Carp. 1-1 as the score at Seaver Memorial. At this point, later in the inning, Connor Sexton would hit a double out to right field, his first hit in his Major League Red Ball career. Fuzzy Dunlop would come in to score, making it 2-1 Devil Rays. Later in the inning, Kenneth Moore would hit his first career home run, a 2-run blast to center field. Sexton will also come across the score, making it 4-1 Devil Rays. That's all the offense we've seen in this one. From then on, it has been a brutal pitching duel between Turner and Masters. Masters is, I believe, 3 1/3. Let me see here. 3 1/3. Yeah, 3 1/3 innings pitched. 6 hits, 4 runs, and quite a few strikeouts as well. However, hasn't been enough compared to Ed Turner, who's only given up a run through 4 innings pitched. What do you think about this pitching duel we have seen here, and the Rays, who are on pace to break this losing streak of theirs?
Well, I think it's good for the Rays. Not so great for Detroit. Detroit really needs to get a few wins under their belt. I think it's affecting their confidence, and it's pretty much showing. Look at their anemic offense in this game. Yeah, they did both get some hits. They got a run in the first inning. Tampa Bay's got 4 runs on top of that, and then everybody's just quiet after that. Yeah, you've got both pitchers are excellent. Yeah, it's a pitcher's duel at this point, but I think the damage has already been done. I don't know if Detroit's going to be able to come back from this.
Let's look at Detroit as a whole right now. This team, they're 2-7. Haven't had really any luck whatsoever in any form. Haven't had anything bounce their way. They did make a transaction this week to try to boost their offense. Hasn't really paid many dividends. If you're the Tigers, what do you got to do? What does Zoom have to do if he's going to fix this team? Or is it too little too late for them and they should really just start working towards next season?
I don't know if I want to put them into sell mode yet, but I do think that they need to make some key trades. They need a little bit more offense for sure, and maybe a little bit more depth in their bullpen.
Well, here's the question at this point. 2-7, that's not looking too good. So even if they win out, they'd finish 11-7 at this point. You think that's going to be good enough to win one of these divisions?
11-7, I could see that definitely making the playoffs.
All right, big bold prediction here by Mr. Daz Evans.
We have some people that are definitely standing out. And sorry to interrupt you there, but we definitely have some teams that are showing that they're winners, that they're getting that they've got a lot of wins under their belt, not so many losses. I think that's going to come back and even out. Like, it's going to regress to the mean. So maybe 11-7 isn't that far-fetched to make the playoffs.
Very, very true. All right, one more game to talk about here. Baltimore and Seattle. The inconsistent Baltimore, the inconsistent offenses on both sides has been a storyline here to start the year in the first half of things, and that would definitely shine right here. In fact, I have the wrong score showing on my screen. All right, let me pull things up, or let me see here. We've got a lot of interesting things. I think we may even have a spoiler too. So the score right now, from my understanding, is 5-1. Let me walk you through why. Pooh Diego in the bottom of the first inning, facing Rob Pancakes. Diego hit a home run to left field. 3-run blast for Diego's first of the year. Ripley and Kadobi will also score. 3-0 Mariners. Top of the third inning now, Whit Murdo at the plate. He'll hit an RBI ground out. That scores Meerkat Timmons. 3-1, the new score. Bottom of the frame, S.M. Brody at the plate. He'll ground out to first, but that's an RBI as Pooh Diego scores. 4-1 Seattle. And just a minute ago, S.M. Brody hit a bases-clearing triple. Miwa Langley will come in and score a run, making it 5-1 at Safeco. However, the box score is showing 7-1 without a result from James McGee's swing. He swung at 4 a.m., and we haven't heard back from Preller on the result. So that may be a spoiler that James McGee may have hit a 2-run blast here to make it 7-1. That's the only way that 2 more runs could have possibly scored. I'm not exactly certain, but for now, we're just going to assume the score is 5-1. What do you think about this matchup here, Daz?
It's a little bit one-sided, but at the same time, Ham Stolbrook as an umpire, and I might make some waves by saying this, his strike zone is a little bit erratic to me. So I'm not the biggest fan of him as an umpire. I guess he's calling a fine game, but those strikes, some of them are a little bit questionable, and I think that might be affecting him.
If Seattle, again, they're on pace to get a win here, about to move to 4-5. They've had a good run to start the, or not a great run to start the year, but they've been okay. Obviously, the offense has been there. The pitching has been the issue. Do they just need to keep working from the mound to get better, or do you think more offense may be the issue?
I gotta say it's definitely pitching, because Seattle has pretty much the best offense in the American League right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
And it shows. It shows by a long shot.
They're fourth in the MLR in runs, despite having a run differential of 1. So take that as you will.
Yeah, I think it's a pitching thing at this point, and I don't want to discourage their pitchers, but I think there needs to be a little bit more of a rotation, a little bit more depth there.
All right. If you're Baltimore, you're another team that's heading into the break 2-7. Is it time for Duncat to throw his hands up and sell, or is there still any glimmer of hope with the roster he's assembled at Camden Yards?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Is it time to give up, basically, if you're Dom Duncat? You're 2-7 and going into the break unless they get a comeback here. You don't really have any shining stars in your lineup, and you don't really have a whole lot of potential. Is it time to blow it up, or is it time to – do you think they still have a chance to get things together, and go on a run in the second half?
I do, but again, I feel like there's not a lot of leadership in their ball club. So I think, Rob Pancakes, of course, but I think that they need to coach their younger players a little bit better, tell them how to be a little bit more patient at the plate and wait for their pitch and not just swing at everything they see up there. And I think that's going to contribute to their strikeouts that they've had this game. But again, I don't really need to go over my umpire thing. Go ahead.
Alrighty. Let's look back here at the American League. Everything that's happened so far. Of course, Cleveland beating defeated Toronto 3-2. Boston defeated Texas 7-5. Houston defeated the Twins 4-2. Arizona defeated Oakland 11-6. Tampa Bay currently on top of Detroit 4-1, and Seattle currently beating Baltimore 5-1. As we know, that could be 7-1. We're not certain what Preller has up his sleeve with that result. That's been sitting there without a result since 4 a.m. Either way, those are our current scores. What do you think, like I asked earlier about the National League, what do you think of these 6 games will have the most impact on the American League playoff race?
Well, can I be a little bit selfish here?
Sure.
I think it's the Twins game. Twins and the Astros, because both of them are on top of their standings right now. Wilbur Wood and Charlie Scott both are absolutely excellent GMs. So I think the fact that we've evened out at this point is going to make the race very exciting.
Alrighty. That will do it for our game discussion portion of the show. If we have any live look-ins, which we don't have right now, if we get one, we will bring it to you live on MLR Tonight. Again, 5 games currently in progress, so if we hear anything in those matchups, we will let you know. All right, let's talk All-Star Game. Obviously, we've talked about the lineups, we talked about the snubs, we talked about who should and shouldn't be in the team, and we have reserves now. And yet, here we are, just a couple of days away from getting underway at Steve Irwin Memorial Stadium with this All-Star Game. So, I'm just going to get, with Sale not here, I'm just going to jump in and give you my picks. But I just want some pretty fast picks on a few things. First of all, who do you think is going to win the All-Star Game straight up, AL or NL?
AL, not a doubt in my mind.
Why?
Have you seen the powerhouse of a lineup that they have set up there? I mean, the National League, they're good, but they're not AL good.
It's pretty fair. I'd venture to agree with you. I don't think it's going to be far and away. I think the NL definitely has a lot more power bats. I think AL is a lot more contact designed. But I do think the AL is definitely going to I think contact will defeat power in this one. They also have home field advantage, so that does help. Let me ask you this question. Who do you think is going to win All-Star Game MVP?
Tim Burr.
Tim Burr. Oh, haha, you're biased, aren't you? In all honesty, you do think it will be Tim Burr?
But I do. I have not seen a pitcher that gets me as excited as he does. And that's not just because I'm on his team. Every single game that he pitches, the movement on his pitches, it's a work of art. Now, he did have a bit of a stumble during our game against the Astros. That's true. But that's going to happen to everybody. He is the future. He is the heart of our rotation. There's no doubt.
Let me ask you this question. This is very off topic, though, but you mentioned Tim Burr as the future. Despite, by all metrics, the fact that Daniel Collins entering the year was probably one of, if not the number one prospects in the league. Do you still consider that Collins is part of the future, or would you say that Tim Burr, far and away, is the process? He's the future. He is everything that this team is right now.
Obviously, Burr's not everything. He's the core that we're going to build around. Collins is on the DL right now. We don't know how long that's going to be. We do wish him a speedy recovery, but he is a great pitcher. I think he's in the future. If he ends up coming back, if he recovers, then he's going to be definitely a strong second to Burr.
All right. Since you gave me a pitcher
when it comes down to it,
mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. When it comes down to it, Burr shot first.
Ha ha ha. All right. I made a very similar joke last night on this very topic, but anyway, since you gave me a pitcher for All-Star MVP, give me the guy on either team that you think is going to give us the most production at the plate during the All-Star game.
I'm sorry, can you repeat it one more time?
What player do you think is going to give the most production at the plate in the All-Star game?
Let me think about that one for a minute. Let me hear what you have to say.
I said this last night, but I think Lance Lummox is going to come through huge for the NL side of things. I think he has proven that he is a leader in all respects for the Pirates, and he has the league leading RBIs for a reason, 14 RBIs, and I think he added on to that. No, he hasn't added on this game, but he definitely has been far and away the best run producer in the entire league. I think he's going to do the same in the All-Star game. I also think that Scotty Smalls is going to keep firing away, presumably as the leadoff guy for the NL. I think he's going to get on base a lot, maybe 3 for 3, 2 for 2, something like that. And I think Smalls is going to be an excellent contributor at the plate, facing against Tim Burr.
Okay, so for the National League, you mentioned Smalls already. I think Jablomi, Smalls, and Westenberg are going to be competing for my MVP vote. I like watching all of them play, and I think they're all going to make some pretty what's the word here? They're going to make waves during this competition. That said, I think the AL is going to completely outdo them. Right at the top, you've got McBaseball Face, you've got Peckershine, you got yourself. I think everything's going to be. I think this is going to be an excellent team to watch.
I'm only going to get like one at bat, and I'll just get an RGO. But anyway, I think this is definitely going to be a fun game. This is new territory. We definitely had a fun time voting in these players, but as we move on and head towards Season 3, potentially when we get a chance to do this again, do you have any recommendations or suggestions, things you like, things you didn't like about the polling system and the way that the All-Star Committee was able to pick the guys and how many guys were on each team and whatnot? Have any thoughts or suggestions or ideas of what you liked and didn't like?
I think overall it was pretty fair, but in the future, I think I'd like to see a deeper bench. So more of the runners-up getting a chance to be on the bench to be subbed in and out would probably be my suggestion.
Here's a suggestion that I thought about. Let me get your opinion on this. This has been thrown around a bit as people thinking that the All-Star Game may be a good spot to do this. The idea has been thrown out since it's just one game that maybe the All-Star Game would be a good time to maybe try out a 9-inning game for fake baseball. It would allow for, like you talked about, the deeper bench, getting more guys at bats since there'd be to share with the 9-inning game, getting more guys also a chance to pitch. Would you like the idea of the All-Star Game being a 9-inning game, or do you think that's just too excessive? Keep it 6, just so the deeper bench, and then we progress on to session 10.
Well, it's interesting that you asked that. I am biased. I like 9-inning games because I like having the chance to make more of an impact later in the game. I also want to see these All-Stars play for as long as I can in this game. That said, as a player who's not in the All-Star game, we're going to be sitting on our thumbs watching them play all night, waiting for our next games to start. So for on one hand, yes, I'd love to see them play a little bit more. I'd like to see them put out some awesome production, something for the agents this All-Star game. But on the other hand, I also want all those who are not in the All-Star game to get back to playing. I don't want them to cool down.
Just curious, does the Twins have any plans to do anything over the All-Star break? Obviously, you have a couple guys like Burr and Hopkins who are going to be traveling. Do you guys have any huge plans of what to do?
I don't know if I'm allowed to share this.
Well, I obviously know you guys had the exhibition. Is that your big thing?
I don't know if I'm allowed to share it, but as I understand, yeah, we're having an exhibition game.
Yep.
It looks like
tomorrow night, right?
Playing against the Phillies. Tomorrow night, but here's the thing. It's not going to be a normal Reddit ball game. We're going to be doing everything live. So a lot of the number guessing, all that is going to be happening in real time.
So you guys do have 9 players who are going to be playing live. Is that correct?
For the Twins? Yeah, the Twins are all set. For Phillies, I'm not sure exactly where they are, but it should definitely be interesting. I'm pretty excited. I'm getting to play in this game, and it looks like I'll be hitting leadoff again.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Congratulations. Will we be seeing appearances from your team's All-Stars in this matchup? For example, Hopkins and Burr, or will it be strictly non-All-Stars participating in this exhibition match?
Well, I don't want to speak for Scott here, but it looks like it's going to be those who are not involved in the All-Star game are going to be getting some playing. I can't say that there's not going to be any changes made, but I think it's mostly going to be our non-All-Stars that are playing.
Awesome. That's a great idea. Us at the Red Sox are having a little inter-squad scrimmage throughout the break, but we're trying to analyze time to see who is being active and who's ready to play and who isn't. So, yeah, I think this will be a good chance for teams to evaluate their roster while the rest of the league is having some fun down in Tampa Bay. So yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about some big transactions that occurred throughout session 9. Only 7 free agents signed this session, a little lower than usual, but they are 7 very key players that could make some impact. Let me run through. Your Minnesota Twins signed Remy Roy Darling. Cleveland Indians signed Alex Jones, a pitcher. Texas signs Tyler Palmatier. The Dodgers signed Ikna Commit, Fernando Cruz, Vince Monster, and Georgie Jerome. Daz, I'll start with you. Which of these 7 guys think will have the most impact on their team in the long run?
Commit definitely looks to be he looks like a long player. He's going to be somebody that's going to be on the roster every day. That's my thought. Now, I'm definitely excited to see Roy. He's already a clubhouse presence, always playing practical jokes. He put shaving cream, completely filled up my locker with shaving cream the other day.
Wow.
I opened it and I almost suffocated. It was fantastic.
Are you going to give him any rookie hazing at all?
You can bet.
Good.
There's no doubt about that, but I don't want to spoil. I really don't want to spoil it yet.
Fair enough. I'm actually going to go with Alex Jones here. Obviously, he hopped in while I was on break, so I didn't really get to see, but I heard he was definitely active in trying to find himself a home. And I think he's going to be a good fit in Cleveland now that Tuna is on his way out of the Indians clubhouse. I think he'll be a great fit there as the number 2 pitcher behind Foxconn. I think he's the kind of guy that BBU loves to have. They have a lot of Alexes there. They have Alex Yaxley, now they have Alex Jones. But I think he'll be a fantastic fit in the Cleveland Indians clubhouse. I saw that Fake Majestic mailed him his number 30 uniform this week. So I think Jones will be definitely a force to be reckoned with in the AL East from the mound. All right.
I gotta actually put a point of contention there.
Yeah.
Jones might be exciting to watch, but he might be exciting to watch for different reasons. I hear Pretel, he's got a lot of conspiracy theories. He's convinced that almost every other single player in the league is a lizard person. There's a lot of strange things that he's said and a lot of controversial remarks that he's made. So he's going to be interesting to watch, but maybe not just for his appearance on the mound.
What's more controversial, Jones's Lizardman comments or Pie's soup salad sandwich comments?
Don't even get me started.
All righty.
Yep.
Okay. Let's talk about a pair of trades that happened, including one that your Twins made that was interesting. First off, the Dodgers were able to acquire a Reddit-only player to boost their outfield. Pi Bacon was moved from the Astros to the Dodgers for future considerations. This is now Bacon's 5th team this year after playing for the Phillies, the Devil Rays, the Giants, the Astros, and now the Dodgers. He'll wear number 1 for Gino Scaramucci's LA team. Also, the Minnesota Twins received one singular, Tootsie Pop from the Detroit Tigers in exchange for second baseman Rutsy D'Amico, who will move to his 3rd team of the year after starting as a staple in the Pops Moyer-led Pirates team. He was then flipped in the big Dick Shot Hopkins trade to the Twins, and now he is on his way to Detroit. Let me get your opinion on that D'Amico trade first. What was the mindset by Charlie Scott in moving Rusty D'Amico?
It was all business. There was nothing personal about that. It's just it was the right choice at the right time for our team to make.
I must ask though, did your team enjoy the one singular Tootsie Pop?
Well, Charlie Scott did. He already he's the only one that got any of it. He wouldn't even give us any licks.
Oof. Is there any retribution in the Twins locker room after that, not even getting any share of the return of such a powerful trade in the league?
Well, it's funny that you say that. We pooled our salary and we filled his office completely full with Tootsie Pops. He can't even walk into it.
Good job, Twins. On the other side, of course, the Dodgers acquiring Pi Bacon. Do you think this is a good deal for Dodgers potentially giving up something in the future to get Pi, or do you think the Dodgers maybe should have stayed put and stick with these young guns that they've signed to roll the outfield with Cutgrass and Smalls beginning next session?
The thing about Pi is I see Pi being a long-term player. I see him being somebody that's got a lot of depth to him. But he doesn't have the confidence yet. I think he just needs to get a win, and maybe the Dodgers are where that will. And by a win, he just needs to wake up a bit at the plate. I foresee him being a key player, somebody that the Dodgers will probably build around in the future.
Alrighty, let's take a look at 4 retirements now that occurred this session. Of course, we discussed earlier that the Minnesota Twins have lost to first baseman Jacob Baneko and catcher Twinkie Power to retirement. They have both hung up the cleats, as well as Cleveland losing 2 players. Vinny Rodriguez and pitcher Big Tuna have all retired now. Daz, any final words about these 4 guys? Any parting words? Any happy trails for them? Anything you want to say about these 4?
I wish them well in their retirement. I hope that they find the peace of mind that they were looking for once they finally settle down and the adrenaline is out of their system. But I know I can't speak for Cleveland, but the Minnesota Twins, Leo, Jocko, and Twinkie quite a bit. And we're sad to see them go, but happy for them.
I'd like to put in a nicer word here for Big Tuna. I think Tuna pitched a lot of innings to get things going for Cleveland here early in this one, or this season after being acquired from Detroit in the Woolridge trade. Tuna was a big part of the Indians and getting some key wins for them. He definitely was a workhorse. He fought hard, and eventually I think he just got burnt out. But props to Big Tuna for a nice career with the Tigers and Indians, and I wish you the best of luck in your future, good sir. All right, that will close our Session 9 discussion. Just a quick live look in here at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. There was a swing in from Sadler Oriole, the Expos left fielder. Of course, 2 outs for the Expos in this one right now as... Oh, sorry, no, 1 out, my bad. 1 out for the Expos right now as they look to extend their lead over the Nationals. Currently a 1-0 lead. If we get a result from Orioles swing, we will let you know as soon as that comes in. Moving on now, let's go into another little discussion I want to have here. I'm going to call this game the best. This is a game we have not played before in MLR Tonight, but I'd like to get your opinion on a lot of these questions. I'm going to ask you 7 questions, Daz. 7 questions about who is the best blank. And you're going to fill it in by listing a player, or a GM, or somebody that fits the bill of the best blank. You ready?
Yeah, I'm excited. Let's do this.
All right, first things first. I want your opinion. Who is the best finesse pitcher in the MLR? Who is the best finesse pitcher in all of the MLR, in your opinion?
In all of the MLR.
Who is the best finesse pitcher?
I gotta think about this one.
Yeah, let me take a good gander too. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, it's really hard to choose. Am I the only one that's going to be commenting on this? Or
I'm going to comment too. I'm just taking a gander through the list because there are some names that jump out at me. I would like to see if you have any opinions before I hop in with the hot take of the century.
Hot take of the century.
Oh yeah.
Okay. This might be a little bit premature to say so, but I see him going far. I think Tommy Foxconn is of the Indians is probably the best finesse pitcher in the AL. Now that's not saying he's got a 2.4 ERA right now. He's only got 15 innings pitched. I see him going long, and I see him dropping that ERA below 2 for sure.
I'm going to drop the hot take of the century right now with my pick. I'm going to say we didn't talk much about him over the last 2 weeks, considering he wasn't part of this session. But I believe that Jay Schwizzle is the best finesse pitcher in the MLR, and let me tell you why. Through 2 games, he has been the most electric MLR pitcher we have seen. A 150 ERA, just 3 earned runs and 12 innings pitched, and 8 Ks. This guy is a beast, and he's going to be a beast right out of the gate in the second half of the year when Oakland has some tough matchups as they try to boost their record. I think Schwizzle is the number 1 guy in Oakland, not Sal Shark, despite Sal Shark's accolades. I think Schwizzle is the guy that Rick needs to lean on, and I think Schwizzle is the best finesse pitcher in the MLR. Now, you know what's interesting?
That is quite a hot take.
You know what's interesting?
I want to clarify one thing, by the way. I did not count Tim Burr
Yeah,
in our
I was about
conversation
to call you out on
because
that.
he's going to the All-Star game, and he's on our team. So I decided it would not be fair for me to just pick Twins. So I chose somebody that was not on the Twins.
Fair enough. I respect that. There are also some good finesse pitchers like Jamison Poe, who deserves a lot of respect for what he has done for St. Louis and arriving there.
Point.
S.A.R. Dinka as well.
I think for the NL, for me, it's got to be Poe.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. All right, moving along. Who would you say is the best neutral hitter in the MLR?
Oof, this one's going to be rough.
Oh, yeah. There's not many of them, believe it or not. A lot of guys want to be contact or power.
Might be Mike Honcho. If not him, then I'm also looking at Forrest Sadoff.
Baseball is another name that jumps out to me. Baseball face, neutral guy on the Devil Rays.
Oh, he's neutral. He strikes me as a power hitter.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's dig through here and see if we can find anybody else that jumps out at us as a true neutral. Spaghetti Hitchens has had a big start to his season in Milwaukee. Neutral hitter. Let's see here. Flipping through some other teams with some big bats. Again, neutral's not popular. Valentino Sanchez is the name that jumps out to my mind. Of course, MVP candidate out of LA. 5 home runs, leading the league in that category. Ooh, that's true. That is very, very true. Yeah. Morris Durant, all-star out of Detroit, is a neutral hitter. Of course, Michael Voorhees.
Somebody that I took notice of recently was Frank Sinatra. He looks interesting to me.
Definitely neutral hitter out of Cleveland there. And, of course, good old Monster Mash out of Arizona. After looking through all the names, I'm personally going to go undoubtedly with Valentino Sanchez, the third baseman for the Dodgers. 5 home runs, high batting average. Unarguably the best third baseman in the league. Sorry, but Valentino is probably a good candidate for NL MVP at this point. I think Valentino is far and away the best neutral hitter in the MLR. Would you agree?
Maybe in terms of hitting, but in terms of best neutral defensive player, Bohorst Jackman's been doing pretty amazing.
Ooh, that's very, very true. Milwaukee has a lot of good defensive players.
It's hard to choose.
It really is. That's the fun of this game, isn't it?
Yeah, you gotta love it. It's hard not to be romantic about Reddit ball.
That is very true. All right, number 3. The best Detroit Tiger is blank. Who would you say, Daz, the best Detroit Tiger?
Some boner.
I figure I'll at least contrast that by picking a guy in the field. There are definitely more options here than just Mr. Morris Durant. I think that Barton Masters is definitely a very, very good Tiger in the clubhouse. And on the field, Dick Woolridge, his comments on the Discord, while rare, are hilarious. John Johnson Jr.
Here's something that you can't really put a metric on, though. And yes, I made the joke about the GM being the best on your team, but Patrick Stump, I think, is going to be a clubhouse leader moving forward. He's new, but he's already playing music for the entire clubhouse, and it's pretty good. I mean, you have to be into that kind of music. I happen to be, but I think it's good for the team.
It's personally not my cup of tea. I think the better music is going to come out of Mr. Rex Snare. In my opinion, I'm definitely more of a percussion guy myself. So I think Mr. Rex Snare could bring I think he'll bring some good beats to that clubhouse. I think that clubhouse has a lot of interesting things. You know, they have some good cooks. You know, Jimbo Fishy is definitely one of the best sushi chefs around. Hans Ali has been said to have beaten Mike Tyson in many fights back in the 70s. Savag Vapor apparently is starting an e-vape company, so I think he has some qualities about him. Otis Nixon Sr. Was recently indicted on a scandal involving former U.S. president and a thing called Watergate. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it. But they have some interesting storylines. Tyler Phoenix I've been told many times, he gets down in the dumps a lot, but he rises up every time he gets down. Valentino Roland hates walking, so that's a good quality. I think I'm going to have to go with John Johnson Jr. I think alliteration is a quality that trumps all things, so I think he is the best Detroit Tiger.
Nice hot take there.
Alrighty, let's move on here to our fourth topic. The best AL East pitcher is blank. We talk a lot about guys like Shark and Burr and all these other players in the AL that are all West Coast guys. You talk a lot about the NL pitchers too. We don't talk about the AL East and their pitchers. Who would you say is the best AL East pitcher?
You're going to love me for this one, but I think Barge.
Really? Even I wouldn't say Harvey Barge. He's a Reddit only guy. Like, I love you, Harvey. I love you, Barge, but come on, get on Discord.
No, he should definitely get on Discord, and I think as soon as he does, he becomes an even better pitcher. I just see a future for him.
I'm gonna go with my good friend Willoughby Hoos here. The only person in the world who agrees that the Carousel of Progress is an amazing ride at Tomorrowland at Disney. Willoughby Hoos, Mr. Woozy Woozle, is an amazing pitcher. More importantly, he's an amazing guy. He's intelligent. He's a librarian. He loves to read. He's very, very smart and thoughtful. And I think he's the best pitcher and the best overall man in the AL East. Would you agree?
Well, he invited me over for cigar and brandy the other night. So, wow. Yeah, I will agree with you in terms of he's a very classy guy. I got to go with you there.
All right, let's move on to topic number 5. The best ump crew in the MLR is, obviously, I am ineligible, so is Zoom, so are yourself. So who's the best crew, the best umpiring crew in the MLR? You there, Daz?
Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot you have to press a button to talk. I'm a little bit biased when it comes to umpires, but let's go with Wojest.
I do like Wojest. They've umped me before in many of my affairs, although I will say the one session they umped me, Scotty was on vacation, so it was just Mike handling everything. I really like this. They're not on this week, but I love this Kellen Heller crew we have going on here. Cashier and your zone. I mean, Kellen Heller, it's fairly impressive to be a blind umpire in the first place, but to be blind and deaf, that's the whole package. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah, I think it's really amazing how they not only make accurate calls, but they do it without saying a word. They don't even call their strikes. They do hand signals only.
That's impressive. And they can't even see it, too.
Right.
It's amazing. Also a shout-out to...
I hear that they go by sense of smell.
Wow. No wonder they ejected Gregory Polinko last game. A shout-out also, I'd like to give tip of the cap to Mr. Devil Fernandez. I did not realize that Satan himself was umping our games.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot to comment on that one.
All right. Move on to number 6. This one, I guess you can meme a little bit with this one. The best league contributor is blank. Who contributes the most to the league and does it in the best fashion? Daz, let's get your answer first on this one.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Who is the best league contributor? Contributor. Who contributes the best to the league?
And that's for...
all of the league.
Is that for AL or NL?
Either or, just contributing to the league and its many worlds and everything it does.
Oof. That's a really tough one. I don't think I could pick just one person.
I can pick just one person.
Now,
Lane Drew, by far. I know Jay has already jerked to Lane Drew enough in the last couple of months, but I'm going to do so now. Not many guys get their own little spot on the chart list on Discord because of their contributions. The Home Run Derby is the greatest thing since sliced bread, having played it. I've never won one, but I know that Lane Drew puts a lot of work into making this league great. He's done a lot of historical stuff, too. All in all, I think Lane Drew is amazing, and I think he is the best contributor to the league.
He is. He's definitely a big contributor. But I'm going to break my own rule here, and I'm going to pat my own team on the back. I think Charlie's probably one of – yeah. It's hard to debate just how much work he puts in, but he is the heart of this league. Anyone who talks to him, you can see it. You can feel it.
Well, that kind of leads me to the final topic question. The best Office of the Commissioner member is blank. Who would you? I'll start this one since you finished with Charlie. I'm gonna say Charlie is the best member of the Office of the Commissioner. Sorry, Meerkat, but Charlie puts in a ton of work behind the scenes to make everything work smoothly, and in my opinion, he does it with a smile on his face always. We never see Charlie angry in any of the chats.
Absolutely.
Charlie's always happy. He's always doing things to make things better. The Eco League is one of the most brilliant ideas I've ever seen, and the fact that he runs it diligently is awesome. I think Charlie is the best Office of Commissioner member. Would you agree?
I do, but do you want me to pick somebody differently?
Up to you. You can.
No, I wholeheartedly I stand behind Charlie, but a close second to that would be Pops. I think Pops has done a fantastic job since taking over for Jay. Jay did a great job while he was commissioner. We owe a lot to him, but I think Pops has really put us in the best direction the league has ever been heading in. And I think his willingness to listen to players is top notch.
Daz, would you agree that Pi is far and away the fifth most important member of the Office of the Commissioner?
I'm sorry, you're going to have to repeat that one.
Would you agree that Mr. Hudson Quinn, the Pioneer himself, is the fifth most important member of the Office of the Commissioner?
100%. He's definitely fifth most important, and I hope he takes that with all the deference that is meant.
Just a quick word for you, Pi. You're supposed to be the guy that runs player relations, but last I heard, you're calling out players publicly for being communist and telling them they don't belong in the All-Star game because they're not being patriotic. Like, I'm not saying I don't disagree with you because I don't think communism has any place, but like, as the figurehead for player relations and relating to all of the players in the MLR, I'm pretty sure the Giants are having pitchforks and are coming for your head right now, so you should turn away and pray for the best. Anyways, we don't have a whole lot of fan mail tonight. I've been looking around here to see if anything would pop up. But let's go ahead and take a look at our one question that is here for you, Daz, and that's from your teammate, Mr. JP Panic. He asks, the Twins have lost 2 in a row and just lost their clubhouse leader. Do you guys think they can turn it around, and who needs to step up and fill Twinkie's shoes? Well, you know this clubhouse better than I do, so fill Twinkie's shoes, Daz.
Pete Wheeler, no doubt.
Pete Wheeler.
Pete Wheeler already. Yeah, he already shows himself to be a leader in the clubhouse. Now that was even before Twinkie left. I think he fills the veteran position that we need. Everybody kind of looks to him anyway. He's always got a smile on his face. He's always supporting all of us other players. We come to him with our problems. Just recently, Geraldo McKenzie. I'm sorry, Pablo Sanchez. We call him a lot of different names in the clubhouse. He was coming up to Pete with some personal problems. He had a rash in a place that he didn't really want to talk to anybody else about, and Pete gave him some great advice and gave him a cream to use.
Alrighty, I'm going to say that. Listen, I'm in the Red Sox. I've seen much worse. I had to deal with Lindros. You want to talk about disgusting things that were said to me? Man. Anyway, moving forward.
Let's not deal with him ever.
What? What'd you say?
Let's not deal with Lindros ever.
I agree. If you're out there, Lindros, screw you. I agree that the baseball base trade was fantastic, and I agree that you won it, but, like, screw you. Anyway, my answer to this question is going to be... Drum roll, please. Hold it, give me a second while I look at the spreadsheet so I can actually tell you who I remember. Oh, it's gonna be shoot, y'all don't have anybody good besides you and other people. I'm just gonna spit out there that Lefty Lewis is gonna be the next guy. That's gonna take over the shoes for Twinkie Power. He's a first baseman, so he fills that kind of corner mold right now. He definitely has a lot of power. He has a lot of contact. He's hitting .333. Has a couple of RBIs. He's been a consistent player. Gets on base a lot with his 2 walks. Yeah, I think Lewis, if he gets some more playing time, can definitely be the guy that replaces Twinkie Power. Okay, yeah, about to say, talk about Lewis and talk about how awesome he is for a few seconds.
Well, he's fantastic, but I don't necessarily see him as being the leader in the clubhouse. What I do see him as, and what he currently, the role that he fulfills for us, is he's our head scout.
Oh, wow.
He's got an eye for seeing other pitchers that nobody else on the team has, at least not to his extent. And just by watching these pitchers, he could see further trends, and he's been pretty instrumental in coaching some of the other players on the team, even though he's one of our relatively newer teammates. He's been really instrumental in making sure that our offense gets going.
Daz, let me ask you this question. Who is the guy that nobody's paying attention to right now in this Minnesota clubhouse that we should all be staring at? Who is this guy that is pretty much the most underrated player on the Twins?
Underrated?
Yeah.
Oof. Well, I mean, that one's going to be tough. But, let me think about that one for a second.
And while you do that, I have a live look-in. Let's head out to Olympic Stadium here. Salvador Oriole again at the plate. That result is in. He'll take a chance on the first pitch, guessing the fastball, and it looks like he'll get just that. He'll hit a solid knockout to left field. Nate Lewis is going to travel around third and slide in at home safely. Zach Benz puts on the brakes at third. The 5th hit of the day for Manchild, as they got in 4 this inning, and that's another run that'll come across and score. 2-0 Expos, the current score at Olympic Stadium. Expos beginning to run away with this one very quickly here in the 4th inning. So yeah, back to you. Sorry, Daz. Again, who is the most underrated player in this Twins clubhouse?
Underrated, I got to go with Jake Panik. I think he is he's an awesome clubhouse presence. His bat hasn't really gotten going yet, but as soon as it does, you're going to start hearing his name.
Thank you for that awesome take. So we're about at the 90-minute mark, and that's about all we're going to do tonight. Haven't had a whole lot of updates with these 5 games currently still in progress. Again, if we get any of the last couple of minutes here, we'll bring them to you. So let's go ahead and move on to our final thoughts tonight. It's getting late here on the East Coast, about 9 o'clock Eastern time. So let me talk to you, Daz, or give you the limelight here. If you've never seen the show before, Final Thoughts is where our guests and myself take the time to rant or speak publicly about whatever they choose. They may not even want to do that. They may want to just open up a discussion about any topic that's on their mind, whether it relates to fake baseball or not. Maybe they just want to get on their soapbox, do a little dance, sing a little song, do whatever they choose. The floor is completely there. So, Daz, I'm going to turn things over to you. What are your final thoughts? You there?
Sorry about that. I was cutting in and out. I just want to start off with one little quick update. Give my deific thoughts to something that's been dividing a lot of the players in the league. And so I just want to say definitively, without question, a hot dog is a sandwich. That being said, I think one of the things that clubhouses should do to get their teams to be more cohesive is play other games. Baseball is great. Reddit ball is great. It keeps us active. It keeps us all together in a way, but to get us thinking more cohesively, to get us to be a little bit more into the mindset of the other players, we should play board games in the clubhouse. I love board games. They're fantastic. I think everybody should play them, and that goes doubly for teammates, because nothing will get them thinking like each other. Nothing will get them being able to play off of each other and trust in each other like board games will. And that is my final thought.
Thank you, Daz. That was very, very insightful. I'm going to hop on here and say something this is a topic I don't really touch on. Normally I don't really get serious with my final thoughts. I normally rant about something completely random and irrelevant. But tonight I actually do have a very thoughtful speech prepared for you all. First of all, I just want to joke and say Leon Ripley is going to dock my pay for talking about this, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a very, very nasty email from the Office of the Commissioner. Either way, I'm prepared to talk about this. So if you would have checked announcements in the last couple of days, on Wednesday, the Office of the Commissioner had a very brief statement to which they are announcing that they are no longer accepting player free agents at this time. They have closed off. They believe that they have a substantial amount, a very cut-off amount of players that they believe are active and working, and they think that the current group we have is solidified, and they think that we don't really need to grow right now. We'll have an opportunity later in the season and, of course, in the off-season to grow a bit more, and they think we are fine right now. I completely disagree. I don't care that we're nearing the point where expansion may be necessary mid-season. I don't care that some teams are lopsided in players. Some teams have 10 players. Some teams have 20. I don't care. This is a league that's trying to grow in all facets. And many, many people every day are stumbling onto the fake baseball subreddit for the first time. We have had 14 to 15 players a session joining this league. That speaks to how much growth we are experiencing. And in my opinion, by turning players away, that's not going to help for the future. Maybe some of these players that are turning away now, but they see the sticky in November, aren't going to want to come and join because they were turned away now and they weren't given a chance. In my opinion, more players is always a better thing, even if it means growing rosters or creating more eco teams or doing what we need to do to get players playing time. This is a league about having fun, allowing more and more people to have fun. Obviously, next season, I don't think it's a question that we're going to be expanding to 30 teams. We will be doing so, which will allow a lot more fun, a lot more realism in the league. But for right now, as we try to grow, I don't see a good reason whatsoever to prohibit the growth. I understand we want population control, and I understand things like that. But right now, we're in a time of trying to grow this league and trying to make it famous. And I don't think stopping growth in any way is a good idea. I think we should open the floodgates, and if we have many people who want to come through, let them come in. I don't think advertising is a good idea right now. But I do think simply keeping the door open for anybody who stumbles in and wants to join fake baseball. And like me, I stumbled in randomly by looking through someone's post history that I was trying to get some information on because of something that was going on in another league. And I stumbled into what I thought was an r/baseball game thread with a ton of numbers generally posted into it. So I dug in and I found fake baseball, and here I am. So I think the gate should always be open and people shouldn't have been turned away. Had I been turned away that night and realized that there wasn't a spot for me, I probably would never have turned into the game again. I probably would never have followed it. I probably would have just kept away. And I wouldn't be here running MLR Tonight and made the league the way it is, contributed in ways like Fake Majestic and score updates and other things. So by keeping these guys away, you may be losing amazing contributors to the league. So keep the door open, OOTC. I don't think it's a good idea to close things off. In my opinion, add players, and if we get too many, we can figure it out at that point. We can cross that bridge then. But right now, in this important time, we're in the All-Star break. This is a time of crucial popularity for the league, crucial excitement. We need to keep adding. We don't need to stop. Keep adding players. Promise me. I promise you it'll pay dividends. So yeah, that's my speech. What are your thoughts on that, Daz? I'm just kind of curious.
I'm actually with you on this. I think we need more players, especially when we see every session seems like somebody is quitting. Somebody either falls off the grid, they retire, they hang up their cleats. I think this is the crux of building up this league. So I don't think closing off free agent signings. I agree with you. I don't think it's the right thing to do at this time.
All right. Thank you, Daz, for joining me tonight. This is going to end tonight's episode. I don't really see no other updates in any other games. So yeah, that's going to finish up things here for MLR Tonight on this Saturday evening. Daz, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
Thank you for coming on. All right. We will see you back next week. We may have Jay and Cub do another weeknight episode sometime before next weekend, but I will be back Friday, hopefully Friday and Saturday night, to be with you for more All-Star game coverage. We have a little bit less this week, but this will be my last weekend of doing a double for a bit because my spring is ramping up fast. We may have some other co-hosts coming on to host
some episodes. But for right now, expect 2 more episodes from me next weekend, and expect another